Differentiated assessment, meaning and significance. Differentiated assessment. Differentiated assessment is an ongoing process through which teachers gather data before, during, and after instruction from multiple sources to identify learners' needs and strengths. Differentiated assessment allows educators to tailor their approach, ensuring that each student is evaluated in a way that reflects their unique abilities. Instead of a one size fits all exam, assessment could take various forms: projects, presentations, or practical tasks that allow students to demonstrate their understanding in diverse ways. In example of climbing a tree as a test of capability, it's important to recognize that not every student may have the same physical ability or comfort level with that task. A more equitable approach would assess students based on their individual strength, perhaps through a variety of challenges that cater to different needs. Ultimately, the goal should be to create an assessment system that is both fair and reflective of each learner's potential. For a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Differentiated assessment is a crucial approach in education that acknowledges and responds to the diverse needs of students. By tailoring assessments to align with individual characteristics, teachers can create a more inclusive learning environment. Differentiated assessment is the way by which teachers modify and match assessment with the varied characteristics or profile of students in order to meet students' individual needs, thereby enhancing their learning and boosting their ability to show what they have learned. Students differ in their previous learning experiences, readiness, learning styles, preferences, academic standing, abilities, strength and weakness, culture, race, and backgrounds. Have different needs. Teachers can design assessments that allow students to demonstrate their understanding in various formats such as project presentations or written assignments, cater to their unique strengths and preferences. Different educational backgrounds. By assessing prior knowledge through pre-assessment or informal checks, educators can identify gaps and provide targeted support or enrichment activities to meet each student's learning level. Different attention span and interest. Assessment can be adjusted in length and complexity to match students' attention spans. Incorporating choice in assessments, such as allowing students to select topic that interest them, can enhance engagement and motivation. Different language abilities. For students with varying language proficiencies, assessments can include visual, simplified language, or bilingual options to ensure that all students can understand and engage with the task. Different cultural background. Culturally responsive assessments recognize and incorporate students' cultural context. This might involve using example scenarios or case studies that resonate with students' backgrounds, making learning more relevant and meaningful. Overall, differentiated assessment not only fosters a deeper understanding of content but also promotes equity in the classroom by valuing each student's unique contributions and learning journey. Differentiated assessment is an essential practice in education and that recognizes the unique needs of each student. By tailoring assessments based on learning profiles, interest, and readiness, teachers can create a more inclusive and effective learning environment. Teachers use differentiated assessment to match and respond to the varying learning needs of diverse students in a classroom. By differentiating assessment, teachers help diverse students to successfully demonstrate their competencies in particular ways that are fitting and effective for them. Learning profile. Understanding how each student learns best whether through visual, auditory, or kinesthetic means, allowing teachers to design assessments that cater to these preferences. For example, a student who learns best through hands on activities might be assessed through a project rather than a traditional test. Next, interest. Engaging students in assessing that align with their interest can enhance motivation and investment in their learning. For instance, if a student is passionate about science fiction, a teacher might allow them to create a story or presentation that incorporates scientific concepts. Readiness. Assessments should also consider the student's current level of understanding and skill. This might involve providing different levels of questions or tasks that challenge students appropriately without causing frustration or disengagement. By focusing on these three components, teachers can ensure that assessment are not just a measure of knowledge but also a tool for fostering growth and confidence in their diverse learners. This approach makes learning more personalized, helping all students to demonstrate their competencies in ways that resonate with them. Differentiated assessment involves collecting data before, during, and after teaching and learning experience. Differentiated assessment is a crucial component of effective teaching and learning, focusing on the diverse needs of students. Data collection. Data collection. Gathering information at various stages before, during, and after the education experience to understand student progress and areas for improvement. Identify needs and strength. Analyzing the collected data to pinpoint individual students' learning needs and strength, which help in tailoring instruction. Guiding instruction. Utilizing assessment information to inform and adapt teaching strategies and methods, ensuring that instruction is responsive to the varied learning styles and abilities of students. Alternative demonstrations of learning. Offering diverse options for students to showcase their understandings and skills, allowing them to express their knowledge in ways that best suit their learning preferences. Resource considerations. Selecting appropriate resources and materials that can support student learning and enhance engagement, ensuring that all students can access the curriculum effectively. This approach not only fosters a more inclusive learning environment but also empowers students to take ownership of their learning journey. Factors of differentiated assessment. Differentiated assessment may take into account the difference between individual students, such as their current level of understanding and ability in relation to a particular topic or skill, prior learning experience, learning style and preference, current current level of understanding. Students' knowledge and skill level vary in relation to specific topics or subjects. Assessments are tailored to reflect the range of abilities in the classroom, allowing for varying degrees of complexity in tasks based on students' readiness. Prior learning experience. Students come with different educational backgrounds and prior experiences which affect their current learning. Assessment should recognize these differences and accommodate gap or strength in prior knowledge. Learning style and preference. Students have different learning preferences, example visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Differentiated assessment allows for multiple modes of demonstrating understanding, such as project presentations, written reports, or hands-on activities based on how the students learn best. Next, motivation and engagement with learning. Engaged and motivated students are likely to perform better. Differentiated assessments may include tasks that align with students' interests and passions to boost motivation and participation, making the assessment more meaningful to them. Interest and talents. Incorporating students' personal interest and unique talents into assessment can foster deeper learning. Students may have opportunities to choose topics or formats that reflects their passions or strength, allowing them to show their understanding in a personalized way. These factors ensure that a differentiated assessment catered to the diverse needs and abilities of all students, making learning more accessible and equitable. Factors considered for planning differentiated assessment. When planning differentiated assessment, educators must consider various factors to ensure they cater to the diverse needs, abilities, and interests of students. The two key factors are nature of test instrument, nature of the feedback. Nature of the test instrument. This refers to the different tools and methods used to assess students, which should be varied and adaptable. Examples include teacher-made test, custom tests that reflect specific content taught. Next, interest surveys, tools to gauge student preference and motivations. Next, anecdotal evidence, informal observations that provide insight into students' progress. Next, performance based activities, tasks requiring students to apply knowledge in practical situations, example, projects, presentations. Next, checklist of traits and characteristics, list used to track specific skills or behaviors. Next, cognitive or intellectual assessment, test that measure reasoning, problem solving, and critical thinking. Next, standardized achievement test, formal test comparing student performance to national or state standards. Number two, nature of feedback. Nature of feedback. Feedback is crucial in differentiated assessments, helping to guide student progress and refine instruction. This include teacher observation of performance. Teacher observations of performance. Continuous monitoring of student work to understand learning needs. Next, parent peer observation and feedback. Input from both peers and parents can provide different perspectives on a student's strengths and challenges. Next, interview conference. Conversations between teacher and student or with parents to discuss progress and areas for growth. Cumulative school history. Reviewing past performance, grades, and achievements to inform current assessments and tailor strategies. By combining these factors, educators can create assessments that are flexible, inclusive, and reflective of each student's unique learning journey. Number three, involvement of students in teaching, learning, and assessment process. When planning differentiated assessment that includes self-assessment, self-reflection, portfolio, learning journals, self-assessment, self-reflection, use of portfolio, learning journals, and other ICT tools, several factors must be considered to ensure they effectively address diverse student needs and promote meaningful learning. Number one, student readiness and learning levels. Assess the student's current knowledge, skill, and readiness for learning. Differentiating tasks based on varying ability level to challenge all students appropriately. Learning styles and preferences. Some students may learn better through writing, learning journals, or creative projects, portfolios, while others may excel using ICT tools for interactive tasks. Use diverse assessment tools to match different learning styles, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, etc. Learning goals and objectives. Align assessments with the specific learning objectives, ensuring students can reflect on their progress towards these goals. For self-assessment and self-reflection, guide students to understand the criteria and expectations clearly. Student autonomy. Encourage students to take ownership of their learning by providing opportunities for self-assessment and reflection. Plan assessments that allow students to track their growth over time. Portfolios, learning journals are examples. Next, feedback and support. Design differentiated assessments that provide timely feedback to students, helping them reflect on strengths and areas for improvement. Feedback should guide students in how to improve, especially when using self-assessment and ICT tools. Next, use of ICT tools. Consider students' access to and proficiency with technology when integrating ICT tools in assessments. Utilize a variety of tools, example online quizzes, digital portfolios, reflection apps to support varied learning experiences. Next, cultural and contextual sensitivity. Ensure that differentiated assessments are culturally appropriate and sensitive to the students' backgrounds. Reflect diversity in examples, tools, and assessment, fostering inclusivity in learning. Next, reflection and metacognition. Include self-assessment, self-reflection activities where students think critically about their learning process, such as through learning journals or reflective prompts. Encourage metacognitive skills by asking students to set personal goals and assess their progress. Formative versus summative balance. Use formative assessments, example self-reflection learning journals, to guide ongoing learning and summative assessments, example portfolios, to evaluate overall performance. Plan opportunities for continuous self-reflection and improvement throughout the learning process. Number 10, scalability and manageability. Plan assess that can be feasibly managed by the teacher, especially in large or diverse classrooms. Ensure that differentiated tools like ICT resources and portfolios can be easily implemented and reviewed. By taking these factors into account, you can create a balanced and personalized assessment approach that support all learners in achieving their full potential. Significance of differentiated assessment. Differentiated assessment is a crucial approach in education as it tailors evaluation method to the diverse needs, strengths, and learning styles of students. Here are the key points regarding its significance. Learning difficulties. Students with learning difficulties. It helps students with learning challenges, whether these have been formally identified or not, ensuring that all learners can demonstrate their knowledge and skills effectively. Next, encourage higher level learning. Encourage higher level learning. By offering diverse forms of assessment, it provides opportunities for students to engage in more complex, deeper learning, promoting critical thinking and creativity. Promotes learner autonomy. Differentiated assessment allows students to take control of their learning through varied task choices, making the learning process more personalized and motivating. Tailored to individual strength. Teachers can design assessments that align with each student's strength or weakness, enhancing their potential for success. Next, considered readiness, interest, and profiles. It factors in students' level of preparedness, interest, and learning profiles, fostering a more student-centered approach. Incorporates multiple intelligence. Differentiated assessment embraces the idea of multiple intelligence, allowing students to demonstrate understanding in ways that suit their cognitive strength. Fosters authentic learning. It makes lessons more relevant and meaningful, enabling students to make real-world connections and deepen the understanding of the subject matter. Ensures inclusivity. No student is left behind. As assessments are designed to meet the diverse needs of all learners, encourage collaboration. It offers opportunities for both teachers and students to engage in collaborative and cooperative learning activities, promotes self-reflection, it encourages students for self-reflection. Differentiated assessment encourages students to reflect on their progress and take responsibility for managing their own learning journey. This approach ensures a more equitable and effective learning environment where every student can thrive.